Our second presenter is Brad Wikstrom with Craft Beer Cellar. Please join me in welcoming Brad to the stage, guys.
All right, well, thanks for having me. We'll jump right into it. So Craft Beer Cellar, we are a locally owned and operated franchise. So my wife and I started the business. We just opened about 2 months ago. And then there's a picture of our little son. So he's head of janitorial services right now. A little bit of information about the franchise. So it originated in 2010. The flagship store is in Belmont, Massachusetts, so Boston area. There are 30 stores overall, the majority of them being in the Northeast, but there are 3 stores in Missouri, Columbia and Clayton, St. Louis area, and Sedalia here now. Here's my team. So Leon, I have 1 full-time employee. That's Leon chilling in the inner tube. And then 3 part-timers, Ashley, Kelly, and Cassie. So what is Craft Beer Cellar? Basically, we're a bottle shop that has a bar in it. Craft beer makes up 80% of our product mix. 15% is wine and spirits. And the large majority of that is local to Missouri. So we have like Tomstown Distillery out of Kansas City, Restless Spirits out of Kansas City. Wine, we have Wildlife Ridge, as Kevin mentioned a couple weeks ago. And then 5% is ancillary goods. So we sell like how to brew, books, t-shirts, that kind of stuff. So what exactly is craft beer? So here's a long definition of what it actually is. Basically, small, independent, and traditional are the 3 keys. Small, you make under 6 million barrels per year. Less than 25% of the craft brewery is owned or has an investment from one of the big guys, basically. And then the traditional is that the brewer has a majority of its total beverage alcohol volume in beers whose flavor derives from traditional or innovative brewing ingredients and the fermentation. Basically, we just like good beer. That's what craft beer is to us. So what makes us unique? Combining a store with a tasting bar. So we have a regular package license, and we can have a bar in that store. So we have 12 taps at our bar, 12 beers on a tap. And then also our store, you can come in and buy and take home just like you would any liquor store. Or you can grab a beer out of the cooler, we can pour it for you as well. So you have over 450 options to choose from when you come in. All of our beer geeks are Cicerone certified beer servers. So that's equivalent to like a wine sommelier. It's just in the beer industry. There's 4 levels to that. Level 1 is a certified beer server, and that's what all of us are. And there's 3 more levels: advanced, advanced master. And the master, there's less than 100 in the entire world. So those, as you go up the levels there, it gets pretty intense. It's hard to obtain those. And then craft beer isn't just a section of the store, like if you go to a grocery store or something like that. It's what we're all about, so that differentiates us. We do have an open food policy. People can bring in their own food. We have families bring in picnics with their kids and that kind of stuff. We do sell a little bit of like snack items, pretzels, cheese, Hemi Brothers Creamery, we have that. The pretzels are Spicy Guys, they're out of Independence. So all the food that we have are local to Missouri as well. Here's some pictures of the store. So we're in the historic downtown district in the old Cecil's Bicycle Shop at 700 South Ohio. So this is the update of the storefront before we came in and finished out the building. There was the empty space. And then here's some pictures in progress. This was framing out the bar. There's it pretty much finished with the back bar, our monitors, everything up there. There's the tap wall. That's where our 12 taps are. Here's a picture of some of the selection. So our store is broken out by region, shelving-wise. So it goes Missouri, no coast, everything else Midwest, East Coast, West Coast, international. So we're looking down from there. There's the cooler. Cooler's broken out by styles. So like lagers, IPAs, porter stouts, each have their own dedicated door. So it makes shopping easier for the customer when they come in and they say, okay, I know I like lagers. So they can go directly to one door. It makes it easier picking out beer for them. Social media is where we do most of our advertising. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Untapped. If you're not familiar with Untapped, it's a beer app, kind of like Foursquare. You check in, you can rate your beer. And we also use Untapped to display our monitors. It might be kind of hard to see in this picture, but these monitors on the right and left, it displays our tap list. So we can update those digitally through the app, and it has our different prices, and it shows the rating on each beer too. So if somebody comes in, they might not be that familiar. There's a beer that has a 4 to 5 rating, that's pretty high. So they might try it just because of that. Oh, and then also I'm going to jump back here. This center monitor here is streaming in the hashtag Craft Beer Cellar Sedalia. So we did that to kind of make it more interactive for our guests. So as they're in with their friends or family or whatever, through Instagram or Facebook, they can post a picture with that hashtag, and then it streams it to that middle monitor. So a lot of times people come in there and they'll do that, and they're like, okay, I'm going to wait and have one more drink so I can see my picture come up on the monitor. So that's good for us. All right. So any questions? Yeah.
We own a wedding venue, so I want to know if you have where you're mobile.
Yeah. So we're actually doing an event the end of this February. Simple Blessings out on west of town, in between Knob and Sedalia. They have a interactive bridal fair, so we're going to be there and pour samples and stuff for people, so they can try that during that event.
So brides can book you for their event.
Yeah, and we sell kegs too. So that's the purpose of going to these events, is they can try some beer, and then like a lot of times everybody's going to probably want a domestic beer, especially for their wedding, because that does cater to the majority of people. But also they could have a couple on the side to give a few other different options for their guests that are attending. Yeah. Yeah.
I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday about your business, and they mentioned that you had a unique partnership for the food.
Yeah, so we just recently started partnering with food trucks. So on Fridays and Saturday nights, obviously our busiest times, we've had a food truck come and park right by the store. So then people can go outside, order some food, and then come back in and have some drinks. And that's one of the cool things I think about Craft Beer Cellar, is that we don't try to do everything ourselves. Like, I don't have a food background. I have a background of drinking beer, so that's what I like. So that's why I do the beer store. I don't really have a passion for food. So it's really cool that we can connect with some of those local vendors around town. And it's a symbiotic relationship, because they're helping us fulfill a need for the guests that are coming in that want to have a full meal. And then also it helps them in turn. So we kind of can help each other out in that manner.
Yeah. I want to thank you for your open food policy. When the Girl Scouts took over our church kitchen across the street, I could get my taco dinner there and just walk into your place and have a beer. But what do you have on tap for the Super Bowl?
So Super Bowl is, so it's this Sunday, and our Sunday hours are abbreviated. That's like our half day. Sunday is probably our slowest day of the week. So we're generally open just noon to 6, and I work that myself, so I don't have to worry about any labor costs if people don't show up. But specifically to the Super Bowl, we'll probably close early, because I wouldn't want to be open and then close at 6, like halfway into the first quarter. But to your point about the tap list, through Untapped or even looking on our Facebook page, at any given time, you can log into there and it'll show you basically real time what we have on tap. One of the other cool things about Untapped, you can sign up for alerts. So as we change a keg, you get a push notification to your phone, and it says Craft Beer Cellar just tapped a little helper for mothers. But yeah, so that's kind of cool. A lot of our regulars like that. One guy in particular, we tapped a keg late on a Thursday evening, maybe 2 hours left. He walked to the store. He's like, I just wanted to get that because I saw the notification on my phone. So, yeah.
Do you currently have a growler service, or are you considering doing that in the future?
It was part of our plans when opening, but the way the state legislation reads, you can have your package store and you can do a bar in it, which is what we have, or you can do package sales and fill growlers, but you can't do all three together. Yeah. So write your local legislator and tell them you'd like that changed.
I have a question regarding that, though.
Yeah.
Because I worked in the liquor business in Kansas for several years, and you have to dance around things there with liquor stores and serving in them and everything else. Would there be a possibility for you to have a part of it sectioned off where you had taps and could do a growler service if that was in the law?
Yeah, so that's the loophole basically. You have to have, the loophole is you can operate a suite A and a suite B. From everything that I've found out is it has to operate off a separate draft system. You'd have to have a separate entrance door. So it would require a decent investment, which could be recouped on the long haul. But at this moment, with about 1,000 square foot facility, it doesn't seem feasible at this moment. But yes, that is a possibility, operating as a suite A and a suite B. Yeah.
For us that are not initiated with a growler.
Right.
Sorry.
So it's a container that you can bring in and fill up. So most of them are usually 64 ounces. So you can come get that filled out. Your volume cost, your price is a lot lower on a growler, whereas if you bought a bunch of 12-ounce singles of that, and you get draft, which draft is typically fresher and it generally tastes better than your packaged product. So. Yeah.
You mentioned you're a franchise operation, but it seems like you have a lot of flexibility in how you run your business. Can you speak to what requirements they put on you in terms of your business?
Yeah, you're exactly right. This being a newer franchise, there's not strict guidelines like if it was a McDonald's or Hardee's or stuff that say these chairs have to be this style and this color and everything. They're pretty open to everything. Craft beer in general is a regional, micro-regionalized product or industry, and those products are going to differ from here in the Midwest based in the Northeast. So in general, they're open to, I guess, suggestions if it makes sense. So like with my floor plan, I put together my floor plan and I sent it to them and I told them exactly like where I was going to have the POS, where the bar would be, where the shelving and the cooler would be. And then they said, okay, that does make sense based on that. Like bar, like design-wise, like the exposed brick and stuff. There's a few stores that already have that, so it kind of fits with all of them, but not every store is the same. But I think it goes back in general to the industry, how they're more open than your typical franchisor would be, just because of that environment that craft beer already is. Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's fantastic that you're downtown. Not too many people go down there business-wise. Why there as opposed to someplace else?
Yeah, so that is something I battled when picking a location. Obviously, out west is where all the development happens or has been happening, and most of your shopping centers are out there. So in terms of sheer numbers, people would be out there. The reason I picked downtown is one, the aesthetically, like the buildings and everything, like they're beautiful and there's so much potential down there. And I kind of wanted to be a driving force in helping revitalize downtown. And then also that specific location, we're at a 4-way stop sign, 1 block right off of 50 highway. So traffic counts are still good. If you do look north on 50, you can see our sign. There's parking right there too. We have full glass windows so you can see in. It's good exposure. But yeah, and then rent is a lot cheaper as well, so that never hurts.
So now that you've been open for almost 3 months now going on, through this whole process, what surprised you that it went really easy? What aspect went surprisingly easy for you, and what aspect went surprisingly difficult? What was just the biggest challenge that you didn't foresee?
So the biggest challenge was probably just navigating licensing, I guess, all the regulation, if you will. This is my first foray into any type of business venture like this, so it was definitely a learning process, just figuring out, okay, I have to get, let's see, city, county, and then state liquor license in that order. So the first 2 months was basically just a waiting game. Send in the application, wait to get it back. Maybe my handwriting wasn't legible enough on one line and they send it back to you, or whatever the case may be. But yeah, so just navigating that was a difficulty for sure. I guess the greatest or the best experience that I had was social media. When I first announced, I was blown away by the shares, reach, total engagement that we got with our post when we mentioned it. So that made me sleep a little easier. So I'm like, okay, well, at least some people do want this. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So this has been a dream of yours for a long time. What made you finally decide to pull the trigger and go into business?
Yeah, so timing, I guess, is probably what I would attribute that to. So I opened this up on the side. I have a full-time job that I work from home. So I moved my home office into my store. So I'm able to physically be there. Leon, who I mentioned was my full-time employee, we did all the training together. He was ready to go on board, so we did all the training together, the Cicerone certified stuff, all the brand trading for the franchise. So time-wise, it lined up with him as well. That takes a lot off of my plate during the day, so I can focus on my actual income, because I don't really make a whole lot from this right now. But yeah, so yeah, I would definitely attribute it to timing and having that flexibility with working from home. Yeah. Yeah.
One of your slides, you mentioned it was a brewery. Do you actually brew beer there, or do you just import in from other places and sell it packaged?
Yeah, so we bring it in. We don't make anything ourselves. I've attempted to do that in the past, and I didn't think it was that great, so I came to the realization that I'm better at drinking it than making it. So yeah, so we just bring it in. We have over 450 beers, so we have a lot of different breweries in there. Yeah.
For those that have never been there, can you talk a little bit about that you don't have to buy a 6-pack of something and
Yeah, so we have
purchasing options for the bar, including your flight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, inventory-wise, everything is based off of a single bottle. So each bottle is a single unit. So that allows us to do like mixed 6-packs, or just come in and people might want to grab just 2 individual beers, like something new that they haven't tried before. So people can come in and basically purchase any way they want. We can facilitate that. We also, draft-wise, we do 2 different pours, 5-ounce pour and then a 16-ounce, a pint pour. And then also we have flights, which would be 4 5-ounce pours. So somebody can come in and try a bunch of different beers and not have to drink like a full beer of something, just make that leap. So this is a little lower barrier to entry for some people that it's new to. Yeah.
I think that was the point I was trying to make for people that I'd never tried craft beer.
Yeah, it makes it a lot easier and more approachable when you can just try a little bit at a time. And we also, so we do the flights, but also if somebody comes in and they're like, well, I've never tried anything, we do free samples as well. So we'll ask you a few questions like, what have you drank? What do you like? And that kind of stuff. And based off of that, myself or any of the other employees will suggest a few different ones, and we'll pour just like a very small sample they can try. And based off of their reaction, we can go like left or right, whichever way fits their taste preference. Yeah.
With the question that was brought up earlier about the brewery part and whether you brew, is that something that other craft beer sellers do? Do they have their own brewery in them? Are there some stores that do, or are?
So none of the stores brew their own. Through our corporate office, they have partnered with Cambridge Brewing Company, which also happens to be CBC. So our stores as a whole, we do a collaboration with them. So they'll take some of the feedback from stores, franchise owners, and that kind of and the brand. and develop our own collaboration, Craft Beer Cellar and Cambridge Brewing Company together. So that is our own product, but we don't actually brew it at the store. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Can you tell us more about, I know that you have opportunities for different types of tastings on weekends. How's that going and what do you see in the future of doing this?
Yeah, so we do a lot of events with breweries. So just a few Saturdays ago, we had Mother's Brewing Company out of Springfield. Their rep came in and we did a tap takeover. So we have 12 taps. 6 of those were dedicated to Mother's Brewing products. So it's great exposure for the brewery. It's also cool for the customers because you have a rep from one of these local breweries coming in. A lot of the home brewers that come in love talking to those guys because they just kind of geek out back and forth about brewing. So it's really cool for a lot of our customers. So tap takeovers are something we do. We'll also do tastings in store with other brewery reps. This February 11th, we'll have our rep from Amagang, which is out of Cooperstown, New York, and Duvel. He'll be there doing samplings of Rosetta and Duvel. So basically you get free chocolate with Rosetta. So he'll just be set up, and anybody that comes in, he'll try to let you taste some of that stuff. So it's cool for the customer because that's on the brewery's dime. So you come in and get something free, maybe try something you haven't had before, see if you like it, and then it's good exposure for the brewery as well. Yeah.
I don't know how many times you've been to Million Cups, but I think it's a new rule that anybody that has food
You know, I thought about that, and then I was like, I thought about it last night, actually. I was like, I'm sure the college wouldn't like that. So next time, whoever I need to talk to, let's see if we can get something going on there. Yeah.
Yes, a question about your draft and your bottle. If I try a porter, let's say on draft, is it going to be similar? Is the taste of the bottled porter going to be similar?
Well, I mean, the short answer is no, probably. Okay. Even a lot of beers, even if you buy one bottle 1 month and buy another bottle the next month, depending on the style and stuff, they probably won't be a 1-to-1. They'll be pretty dang close, but it probably won't be exactly the same. Even the ABV might be off 1/100th or 1/10% from bottle to bottle. But yeah, I think that's some of the fun with it. There's a lot of seasonal releases that craft breweries do. Like Bell's Hop Slam comes out every February. We just got it this year. A lot of people said, it tastes like there's a lot more honey in this. So it's an IPA brewed with honey. And they did increase their honey during the brewing process. So you could taste that on the final product. So I think that is one of the cool things about craft beers. They're always tweaking their recipe and that kind of stuff. So you're not always going to have the exact same, I guess, beer every time. And you could view that as a positive or negative. Oh, yeah. It'll be very similar, but yeah.
Okay, so last question.
Yes.
You know what I'm probably going to ask. What can we as a community do for you?
You can come in and drink some beer. But seriously, follow us on social media. We post all our events on Facebook. I mentioned Untapped a lot. Instagram and Twitter aren't as highly trafficked for us yet. We hope to kind of grow that. But follow us on social media. You can see events and stuff that we have going on. And then, yeah, come in and check us out sometime.